Peggy and John, it's wonderful to see you again. I've enjoyed working with you in the past, and I'm thrilled that you're willing to do this with me today. My name is Roz Kalb. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I've been involved with Can Do MS for about 20 years now.
My name is Peggy Donaco, and I have been together with my husband, John, for it'll be 35 years in October. We have two kids. We have a son, Michael, who lives in Los Angeles, and we have a daughter who lives here locally.
I met Peggy through mutual friends when we both lived in San Francisco. We met at a festival, street fair festival, and Peggy was able to get around and do all kinds of things, and we just enjoyed spending lots of time with one another. And within a year and a half's time, we were married and on our way to our life journey.
I was diagnosed about 1999, so we were actually married for over 10 years before.
Peggy didn't know, other than somebody bringing it to her attention at work, that they noticed a slight misstep in her gait. So as she was walking, they asked her about that.
A couple weeks later, I ran into this person again, and she asked me if I had contacted my doctor to talk about it. And I said that I hadn't, and she really pushed me to do that. So I did. I went to my primary doctor, and he had me walk up and down the hall. And then without hesitating, he said, I'm going to refer you to a neurologist. They diagnosed me at that time with primary progressive MS. Mobility-wise, I've been in a wheelchair for probably 14 of the 20 years that I've had it. But as far as cognitive and some other things, upper body, I'm still pretty functional.
So at what point after Peggy's diagnosis did the two of you begin to experience a real limiting aspect of MS in terms of the things that you really wanted to do together?
It didn't really impact us that much at the beginning because we were both working in our careers and had, young children. We weren't big into athletics, and we didn't run, things like that. So we were more like wine tasting and being with friends and going to the movies. So we didn't really feel that our lives were changed in that aspect. I'm at the point now where I don't stand on my own at all. And so he has to transfer me from whether it's on the toilet to the wheelchair, sometimes from bed into my chair. I can still do it most of the time, but once in a while, if I'm fatigued, he'll need to step in and help me with that.
So what do you think has been your greatest challenge, and what strength do you think you bring to it that has made it possible for you?
It's been to respond to what the needs are, and sometimes to put aside other things that either I might need or want to do, and to make myself more available. So that's been a challenge. And to be able to communicate with Peggy along the way.
Okay, so balancing Peggy's needs and your own needs, and it sounds like the balance is sometimes better than others, and how to communicate when things are out of balance.
Well, I think that, and this is kind of sometimes where our communication goes awry, is because I think I'm still very independent and I can do pretty much everything on my own. I do need assistance with getting dressed, and I get frustrated because sometimes I'll be like, I'm ready for you for whatever. And he'll be like, you're going to have to wait a minute. I'm in the middle of something. And I'm thinking, what are you in the middle of that's so important? I feel this way when you don't come when I ask you to. Mm-hmm. And then, he'll be like, well, this is how I feel when you need help and I'm not Johnny on the spot. We've actually gotten better about that. And he actually responds a lot better. And I don't feel like I'm a burden when he responds lovingly versus you're going to have to wait. Because he doesn't mean it that way. It's just I take it that way because I feel a little bit sensitive.
Does that kind of communication take practice?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Was there something or somebody who helped jumpstart that process for you so that you began to practice the communication that you're now pretty good at, I would say?
Part of it is what we learned when we went to the Can Do MS.
Mhm.
And one of those was to allow one another to talk for like a minute at a time so that one person is able to say what they need and then the other person is able to have their turn uninterrupted. And so that's been helpful.
We've done therapy in person, on the phone. In fact, when we introduce ourselves in other situations with this group, we introduce ourselves and then we say what our spouse's best quality is for that day or for the week.
Well, I think that's wonderful to hear, because I think one of the things that happens with couples, particularly in the heat of a tense time or a challenging time, is forgetting to pat each other on the back, forgetting to acknowledge the strengths that you each bring to what is a challenging situation. I'm interested to know, out of curiosity, whether you think sense of humor has helped.
Our very first date, we went to an amusement park and we laughed so much that my cheeks hurt more that day than I think on our wedding day from laughing and smiling. And we were so comfortable together. It was just, we really just meshed, and it was like we'd known each other for a long time and we had really just met. If it weren't for his ability to make me laugh almost every day for 35 years, I'm not sure where we'd be.
What challenge would you want help with today?
Peggy's van is converted and allows her to continue to drive. And I've always felt that her mobility was such a key thing. But yesterday she had an appointment to go to, and she got in the car to get there. And then she had an incident where the water bottle had dropped, and then it ended up on the floor of the car and it was spilling everywhere. And
when I tried to transfer into my wheelchair, I couldn't get one of my legs onto the wheelchair, and it's 100 degrees out. And so I ended up having to transfer back into the driver's seat, reposition, and then transfer back over. And it took me about 20 minutes. So I was just very upset that I was going to be missing that part of my program, my exercise.
And I felt like I didn't even know how to help her from a distance. So I'm trying to kind of balance between Peggy and who she is, what she needs, and my ability, or sometimes beyond my reach, to be able to help her.
When I call John, I can always know that I'm going to get support. I mean, he's like, I can come down there, I can call somebody to come help you, I can do this, he's always there for me. And I know that even if I don't need his help, I can just call him and know that he'll be there to listen.
Well, that's a wonderful thing to say about your partner. We should all be able to say those things about our partners. But it sounds as though one issue that will be important for the two of you to talk about, how to put safety nets and plans in place so that you have anticipated some of these challenges that might arise as you age or as MS progresses, if it does, so that you feel somehow prepared. You
Right.
know what some of your options might be or your resources might be. That's typically a very hard conversation for couples to have. And so I'm wondering what your feelings are about your ability to provide care of the type that Peggy needs now and might need in the future.
We talk about it on different levels, but I don't know that we have a specific game plan. So it kind of comes up, it's out there, and that's part of a concern I have, which is we really need to kind of be in the same place. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation that then requires immediate attention. We kind of accept things as, you adapt, but even in adapting, sometimes things are beyond. And so that takes a toll in time.
And he seems so young to me. I don't, When he says he's getting older, I'm like, you seem very capable.
Well, you both seem young to me, so there.
But I'd like to say this, one of the things, Roz, that we're looking at is making a move. That might seem like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
well,
a
you
big
just
deal.
do what needs to be done and then move. But then I'm also thinking, well, it can't just be, well, you move. Somewhere you also have to say, well, what resources are available, where we would move, and then what does making the move then allow you, maybe either make more difficult.
Has that been a challenging topic, planning for the unpredictable future? Is that something you feel that you can kind of manage together, or is that potentially a topic where you might look for some outside support to have that conversation?
The support, I think, it would be great. And that's because to hear from someone else, their own experience. One of the things that the Can Do did for me was when we've had the conversation with yourself and in the groups, that's so value added because it allows me to hear and benefit, or at least be part of what others are experiencing. And that helps to give me a perspective in then my decisions and direction in taking on things.
So sometimes somebody in a counseling role, but sometimes people in your same situation, other couples living with MS, to share support and wisdom. Both of those things have been helpful for you.
Right. Sometimes you don't even know what things to think of next. So you're listening to what we're saying and able to say, hey, here's kind of
Good
have
point.
you thought of this?
Yeah.
And we're saying, well, we may have, but not the way you just described it.
Have you ever struggled, John, with knowing when to help or when to step back? Has Peggy been clear in her messaging to you about when she needs help and when she doesn't?
Well, I think Peggy's pretty clear about when she needs it. If I am doing something, it may be, okay, I want to respond, but I may not be able to. And that's for a variety of reasons. So I'm always like, okay, when is it something that requires me to take action right away versus something which needs to happen, but maybe not right here? Because I am always thinking, if I wasn't here, what would we need to do? How would we address that?
I try to do as much as I can, but sometimes I do get a little resentful when I see that other people I might be in the kitchen, I'm cooking, I'm trying to chop, I'm doing things that if someone else were to come and help me, it would be a lot easier. But by the time I ask for help, I'm already getting upset or frustrated. So instead of saying, hey, honey, can you come in and give me a hand with chopping some vegetables? It's like, I'm done. I'm not, the third carrot's fallen on the ground and I am not doing this anymore, So then people feel like they have to come running because, oh my gosh, Peggy's on the rampage or she's getting mad. And no one wants to help someone that's acting like that. And I don't blame them. So I have to learn to ask in a way before I get frustrated, because I do try to do too much for myself.
I was just going to say that's really a wonderful tip that you've just provided, Peggy, about reading your internal signals so that you reach out for some help before you lose it or share it, but also that it's about not expecting your family members, even the ones who love you a lot, to be able to read your mind. Right. They obviously think of you as very competent and independent and go to it. So they're not necessarily going to be in tune with when you may need help.
In our conversations and communication, over time, we have gotten better. That's good. But as we move forward in age and progression, there's still the challenges of, okay, even if you've gotten better about the communication, the realities of what the MS will bring and the ability to deliver then becomes a step higher. And so those things continue to be in play. So something that would therapeutically or support-wise or dialogue-wise help on those areas, I think is very key.
Well, on that note, I think you both have done a wonderful, wonderful job of explaining how you communicate and how you've met the challenges together. It's a pleasure to talk to you. And I really, really appreciate your taking the time to do this. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting us.